Hey there. Today's video could literally change your financial situation, and I mean that in the most literal sense possible. We're talking about not just one, not two, but three separate relief payments that could put up to $4,600 in your pocket if you qualify. And here's the kicker: the lowest income Americans are first in line. I've spent the last week digging through government websites, official documents, and speaking with financial experts to bring you the most up-to-date information about these programs. What I discovered actually shocked me. Thousands of eligible Americans are missing out simply because they don't know these programs exist or think they're scams. But they're 100% real, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to check if you qualify and what steps to take. Trust me, you'll want to watch this entire video because the last payment program I'll discuss is the most generous one, and it has the fewest applicants so far. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Let's start with the most urgent program first: the $1,200 relief payment that's already being distributed in several states. This initiative is specifically targeting households making under $45,000 per year, with priority given to those earning less than $30,000. What makes this program unique is its rapid distribution system. Unlike previous relief payments that took months to process, this one is using a streamlined digital payment system that can deposit funds into your account within 5-10 business days of approval. Now, you might be wondering why you haven't heard about this on the news. Well, here's the interesting part: this program is being administered at the state level, not federal, which means less national media coverage. But don't let that fool you into thinking it's less legitimate. In fact, the funding comes from remaining federal aid that states needed to allocate before the end of the year, or they'd lose it. The second payment we need to talk about is the $1,400 assistance program. This one has a slightly different qualification structure, and it's actually easier to qualify for than the first one. The income thresholds are higher, extending up to $65,000 for single filers and $130,000 for joint filers. But here's what makes this really interesting: they're also looking at your 2024 income, not just 2023. This means if you've experienced a recent drop in income, you might qualify even if you didn't before. Let me pause here for a second and address something important. You might be thinking this sounds too good to be true, or maybe you're wondering if there's a catch. I get it, I was skeptical too when I first learned about these programs. But here's the reality: these are legitimate government assistance programs funded by taxpayer dollars that were already allocated. They're not handouts, they're more like tax rebates designed to help stabilize the economy and provide relief to those who need it most. Now, let's talk about the big one: the $2,000 payment program. This is the newest and most generous of the three, and it's also the one with the most specific qualifying criteria. But don't let that discourage you, because the requirements might surprise you. Unlike traditional assistance programs that focus solely on income, this one takes into account factors like household size, recent medical expenses, and even educational costs. The really fascinating thing about this $2,000 program is how it's structured. It's actually being distributed in partnership with major financial institutions, which means faster processing times and more efficient delivery. Some people have reported receiving their payments within just 3 days of approval. But here's the catch, and yes, there is a small catch this time: you need to apply before certain deadlines, which vary by state. Let me walk you through the application process for each of these programs, because this is where many people get stuck. The good news is that you can apply for all three simultaneously, and in most cases, qualifying for one makes it more likely you'll qualify for the others. The application process has been streamlined specifically to prevent what happened with previous relief programs, where eligible recipients got lost in bureaucratic red tape. For the $1,200 payment, you'll need to start with your state's assistance portal. Don't worry if you're not tech savvy, I'll explain exactly how to find this in a moment. The key documents you'll need are proof of income, residence, and identification. Some states are accepting digital copies, while others still require physical documentation. But here's a pro tip I learned from a program administrator: if you've received any government assistance in the past 2 years, you might be automatically pre-qualified. The $1,400 payment has a slightly different application process. This one actually starts with a pre-qualification check that takes less than 5 minutes to complete. You'll need your social security number and basic income information. What's really cool about this program is that they've built in an appeal process. So even if you're initially denied, there's a straightforward way to have your case reviewed, especially if your financial situation has changed recently. Now, for the $2,000 payment, this is where it gets really interesting. The application process is the most thorough of the three, but it's also the most flexible in terms of qualifying criteria. They're looking at what they call holistic financial health, which means they consider factors beyond just your income. This could include recent job loss, medical expenses, educational costs, or even caring for dependent family members. Here's something crucial that most people don't realize: these programs have what's called a cascading qualification system. This means that if you qualify for one, you're automatically considered for the others. But and this is important, you need to initiate the process with at least one application. Think of it like dominoes, you need to tip the first one to start the chain reaction. Let's talk about timing, because this is critical. These programs are operating on what's called a first-come, first-served basis, but with a twist. They're prioritizing lower-income applicants first, then moving up the income scale until funds are exhausted. This means that even if you're not in the lowest income bracket, you shouldn't wait to apply. The sooner you get your application in, the better your chances of approval. I want to address something that many of you might be wondering about: how these payments might affect your taxes or other benefits. The good news is that these payments are generally classified as disaster relief or economic impact payments, which means they're not counted as taxable income. Even better, receiving these payments won't affect your eligibility for other assistance programs like SNAP or Medicaid. Let me share a quick success story that really illustrates how these programs work together. One of my viewers, let's call her Sarah, initially only applied for the $1,200 payment. During her application process, she was automatically flagged as eligible for the other two programs. Within 3 weeks, she had received all 3 payments, totaling $4,600. She used this money to catch up on bills, make some necessary home repairs, and even start a small emergency fund. Now, I know some of you might be feeling overwhelmed by all this information, but don't worry. I'm going to break down the exact steps you need to take in my next video, including how to find your state-specific application portal and what documents you'll need to have ready. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss that crucial information. Before we wrap up, let me quickly recap the key points. We're looking at 3 separate relief payments: $1,200, $1,400, and $2,000 each, with its own qualification criteria, but all prioritizing lower-income households. The application processes have been streamlined, payments are being distributed quickly, and qualifying for one often helps you qualify for the others. The funds are limited, so timing is crucial, but don't let that make you feel rushed into making mistakes. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with these programs. Have you applied for any of them? Are you planning to? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from these programs. Remember, knowledge is power, and sharing this information could really help someone in need. That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for my next upload, where I'll walk you through the step-by-step application process. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.